At the darkest moment of Alicia's funeral, an unexpected visitor appeared, a street kid who shocked everyone by accusing the killer right in front of the devastated family. What happened next turned this tragic farewell into an unthinkable nightmare. Have you ever witnessed a mystery unfold where the truth hides in plain sight? Keep reading, and share your thoughts on who you think was behind the tragedy. The tiny white coffin sat in a grand chapel, surrounded by grieving faces cloaked in black. Alicia, a bright and loving 8-year-old, lay still, her life and laughter snatched away overnight. Her father German, a wealthy and reserved businessman, stood frozen, struggling to accept the unbearable loss. His brother Miguel, stoic with white hair, and Miguel's son Hector, avoided his gaze. The silence was thick, suffocating. Suddenly, the chapel door creaked open. In walked a boy no one recognized, dirty, small, wearing torn denim overalls and carrying the weight of the world in his eyes. Without hesitation, the boy stepped to Alicia's coffin, his small hand brushing hers. "You promised to teach me to draw big houses," he whispered, voice trembling. Confused murmurs rose, until the boy raised his voice, pointing a finger at Miguel. "Your daughter's killer is standing right behind you." Gasps filled the room. From that shocking moment, the funeral shifted from mourning into chaos, suspicion hanging over everyone like a storm. The boy, Jamie, claimed he was Alicia's secret friend, meeting in the park, sharing whispered secrets, and warning of danger Alicia never dared speak aloud. He revealed how Alicia feared someone threatening her, how she disappeared after getting into a mysterious black car registered to Miguel's name. Everything unraveled. Jamie found Alicia's butterfly necklace hidden in Hector's room, and strange incidents began, missing belongings, quiet threats, and tensions escalating between Jamie and Hector. German's nights became sleepless, burdened by guilt for not seeing the signs, for dismissing his daughter's silent cries for help. When the truth finally surfaced, Miguel's heartbreaking confession that he protected his son instead of his niece, it shattered the family. But the true horror was Hector's violent rage and cruel admission of silencing Alicia forever. Through pain, betrayal, and tears, a fragile bond formed between German and Jamie, the boy who dared to speak out and keep Alicia's memory alive. Justice, though delayed, began to touch the broken hearts left behind. What would you do if you were in German's place? Would you be able to face the painful truth and fight for justice, even when it tears your family apart? Like, comment, and share your thoughts. How would you rewrite this tragic story? And don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales of loss, truth, and redemption. The pain seemed too vast to fit inside the room. The little girl, Alicia, only 8 years old, lay still in a white satin coffin adorned with a pale rose and a delicate flower crown atop her blonde hair. Just a day before, she had been laughing in the mansion's library. The next morning, her lifeless body was found fallen by the gates of her father German's property, an affluent businessman known for his discretion. No one could explain what had happened. No signs of struggle, no witnesses, only silence and a void impossible to fill. The chapel was packed with shattered faces, black clothing, reddened eyes, and restrained sighs, family, friends, mansion staff, all struggling to grasp what made no sense. German held his hands clasped, his gaze lost in his daughter. Beside him stood his brother Miguel, white-haired and heavy-faced, silently watching, while his son Hector stared at the floor with crossed arms. It was impossible to understand how such a bright, full-of-life girl could vanish overnight, as if her soul had been carried away by the wind. She was fine. Just yesterday morning, she asked for hotcakes for breakfast, German murmured, clinging desperately to a trivial detail to stay sane. Miguel gently touched his brother's shoulder. "Stay strong, brother. That's all I can say." But no strength could fill that emptiness. Alicia was the light of the house, intelligent, loving, curious. Her room still smelled faintly of childhood perfume, now pale, motionless, with eyelashes that looked as if she were simply asleep. Then, an unexpected moment shattered the solemnity. The chapel door creaked open, all eyes pivoting towards the entrance. A boy they'd never seen before stepped in. Dark-skinned, wearing torn denim overalls, short hair, and a serious face. The sharp contrast between his ragged appearance and the somber atmosphere created a wave of discomfort. "Who let him in?" a woman whispered from the back row. But the boy walked forward without hesitation, as if born for this moment. Gazes shifted between indignation, curiosity, and confusion. The boy approached the coffin in complete silence. Looking at Alicia, he took a deep breath and gently touched her hand with his own small, rough fingers. "You promised me you'd teach me how to draw big houses," he whispered with a cracking voice. A murmur rippled through the room. German stood up, bewildered. "Who is this boy?" he asked a nearby aunt. "No one knows," she replied. Then the boy looked up and addressed German clearly so all could hear, "Your daughter's killer is right behind you." The phrase exploded like a bomb in the chapel. A sharp gasp escaped somewhere. A woman let out a strangled scream. An elderly man covered his mouth in shock. German stood paralyzed, barely able to speak. "What are you talking about?" he stammered. Slowly, the boy turned and pointed firmly. His finger rested on Miguel. The room seemed to spin. All eyes fixed on the white-haired man. Miguel remained still, pale, expressionless. "Say it again," German demanded, voice shaking. But the boy only lowered his arm, took a deep breath, and stared into German's eyes, silent. In that heavy moment, something shifted. The funeral, once filled with mourning and nostalgia, now brimmed with suspicion, confusion, and unrest. The boy's gaze carried weight, as if saying, "I saw it and came to tell." The atmosphere sliced in two, and what felt like an ending was only the beginning. The stunned crowd could barely recover. The boy's words echoed like thunder. "Your daughter's killer is right behind you." The silence afterward was deafening. German stood, trying to breathe, struggling to understand what he'd just heard. His eyes darted from the boy to Miguel and back to the coffin. His heart pounded as if trying to escape. "Can someone explain what is happening?" he asked hoarsely. The boy remained still, hands clenched together, fighting to keep composure. Tears welled but he didn't move away. There was a weight in those eyes no child should carry, a pain older than his years. He stepped forward hesitantly then murmured, "My name is Jamie. I was Alicia's friend." A new murmur spread. Friends? How had no one seen this boy before? Jamie explained they met secretly in the park. She told him not to tell anyone. "My dad doesn't want me hanging around people like you," Jamie said, resigned and hurt. The word struck German deeply. Miguel watched silently. Jamie continued. "But we were really friends. Every Saturday she'd leave a note under the park bench. I went. We played guessing games, drew with sticks on the ground." The memories felt heavier when spoken aloud. German slumped, hands clasped against his forehead. Jamie looked up, seeking permission to speak more. "The day before she disappeared, we met as usual. But she was different. She was scared, said someone threatened her." The entire room hung on his words. "I asked who, but she wouldn't say. She just said she'd come home early." A pause. His eyes trembled as he faced the hardest part. "I saw her get into a black car, a big one with tinted windows." German's breath caught. Jamie pulled out a crumpled cardboard with scribbled letters and numbers. "I was scared, but I wrote down the license plates. In case something happened." A policeman discreetly took the paper, checked the radio, then froze. "That plate belongs to a car registered to Miguel Guzman." The air vanished. Time stopped. German looked at his brother, disbelief written across his face. "Miguel, tell me this is a mistake," German whispered. Miguel said nothing. Another officer stepped forward, placing a hand on Miguel's shoulder. "Mr. Guzman, you're under arrest for suspicion of involvement in Alicia Guzman's death." Chaos erupted. People stood, some sobbing, others shouting. German watched as his brother was handcuffed, can't believe the nightmare unfolding before his eyes. The funeral of his daughter interrupted, and a child who had just come forward now at the center of it all. Hours later, the wake was over, but the image of the boy standing by the coffin haunted German like a ghost. The mansion fell into a silence that screamed. Miguel was taken into custody. German locked himself in Alicia's room for hours, lying on her bed holding her diary tight, unable to open it. Outside, Jamie sat alone on the mansion's steps, hugging his knees, staring at the sky. German's heart ached looking at the small, lonely boy who'd faced a room full of strangers to speak the truth aloud, with no guarantee anyone would listen. Taking a deep breath, German descended quietly and asked, "Do you have anywhere to go?" Jamie shook his head. "Would you like to stay here a few days until we figure this out?" Jamie nodded with relief. In the following days, Jamie adjusted to the mansion's grandness but preferred the quiet corners. The patio, the porch, near the abandoned henhouse. He helped with chores, made beds, watered plants, and always left a small plate of food beneath the tree where he and Alicia had talked in the park. German watched with tenderness and guilt. This boy kept his daughter's spirit alive. But not everyone was comfortable with Jamie's presence. Hector, Miguel's son and Alicia's cousin, stayed in the mansion with a great-aunt after his father's arrest. Days passed with little contact, but then strange things began to happen at night. Jamie woke feeling watched and found Hector silently standing at his bedroom door like a shadow refusing to disappear. The next night was worse. Jamie heard whispers from Alicia's old room. He went barefoot, stopped at the half-open door, and saw Hector sitting on the floor clutching Alicia's favorite wooden-painted horse, whispering to himself hurriedly. Frozen with fear, Jamie backed away silently. The following day, he avoided Hector, who now glared at him with veiled threats disguised as normality. At breakfast, Jamie noticed a drawing Alicia had left missing from the table. No one seemed to have seen, except Hector, who watched with a half-smile. That night Jamie struggled to sleep, staring at the dark garden, unsure if what he had seen and heard was real. He wanted to tell German but feared disbelief. Being a homeless child was hard enough. Now living in a house marked by death where Alicia's absence weighed on every wall, Jamie sensed secrets still hidden. Each sleepless night made his fear grow into certainty. Something in the house made no sense. Since discovering Hector whispering alone in Alicia's old room, Jamie's mistrust kept growing. Hector avoided him during the day but shot looks loaded with silent threats. German, now more alert, listened more since Jamie's revelations. Lurking behind his grief was a new pain, anger. One restless night, German sat in his study, clutching Alicia's collar, mind heavy with guilt and regret. He felt surrounded by invisible weight, not just loss, but failing to protect. The diary was in his backpack along with Alicia's necklace and bracelet. He rose silently, creaking steps echoing guilt as he opened Alicia's unopened door. Her room smelled sweet, untouched, frozen in time, her pink floral quilt, scattered crayons, unicorn piggy bank. He found a blue-painted wooden box with folded drawings, notes, magazine clippings, and a hardbacked violet notebook covered in stickers. His fingers trembled as he touched the diary. Fear no longer protected him. Reading aloud in the dim light, he heard Alicia's gravelly child handwriting begging for secrecy around Jamie and fear of Hector. "I'm scared of Hector. If something happens, it was him." German clutched the diary to his chest, overwhelmed by how many times Alicia tried to warn him but he didn't listen. He recalled a night weeks before when she knocked, wanting to talk but he told her maybe tomorrow without opening the door. "Sorry, my girl," he whispered, broken on his knees. Now it all made sense, Jamie's words, Hector's odd behavior, Miguel's silence. But the pain wasn't just anger, it was searing guilt. A father should protect. A father should listen. Hours later German sat in his car, driving toward the prison with a heavy heart but steady hands. The diary had changed everything. He confronted Miguel in a bleak visitation room. With tears and shattered pride, Miguel confessed. He had known about Hector's darker side but was too weak and blinded by love for his son to face the truth. I protected my son and lost them both, Miguel wept. German's pain was a storm inside, a brother who failed a daughter. I read the diary. She warned me. I didn't listen. The brothers faced the ruins of their family, stripped bare of lies. German returned home, determined to expose the truth. He found Hector defiant, scoffing at evidence. But the investigators were ready. In a furious outburst, Hector admitted he silenced Alicia when she threatened to expose him. The mansion echoed with his rage and the shattering of a twisted facade. Jamie silently witnessed the chaos. German knelt before the boy and whispered, "I trusted you. Now so do I." Jamie had been the voice that broke the silence. The next morning, the truth set someone free. Miguel was released but broken. German came to pick him up, sharing a silence heavy with shared loss. Jamie waited at the gate, clutching Alicia's teddy bear. The three formed a fragile new beginning, an attempt to heal beyond words. Life in the mansion shifted. Flowers bloomed, laughter returned, and Jamie found a permanent home. One bright morning, German took Jamie to Alicia's swing. Holding the boy's hands with tears in his eyes, he said, "You were the courage I didn't have. You were her voice when no one else listened." Jamie smiled shyly. "This home is yours now, not out of pity, but because you deserve it." As they embraced, Miguel watched quietly, knowing some wounds never fully heal but hope still grows. Alicia lives on, in truth, in memory, and in the family that now includes Jamie.